It's the 21st of January 2017. Welcome to episode 24 of RapBabble, the weekly hip-hop podcast. I've been away for about a month. I've been a bit lazy, but I'm back now. So let's get into the stories. The first one concerns Soulja Boy and Chris Brown. So this is about a online social media beef, which is not very interesting, but someone said something, another person said something back. And it was between Soulja Boy said something complimentary about Chris Brown's ex-girlfriend. They're not together now, so he shouldn't be so sensitive, but Chris Brown was very sensitive, and that's what ignited everything. And Soulja Boy seemed happy to go along with this. And so they started saying things back and forth. And then it kind of got to the point where 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather jumped in, and they said, hey, let's make a boxing match out of this. So I don't think this has happened with well-known people, but it's scheduled for March. And I think 50 Cent said it as a joke, although maybe it wasn't a joke. Maybe it was kind of a half-heart. Maybe he was trying to do it. But it started off as just a joking one where he put a video out saying it was a video of him organising it. It looked like he was organising it on the phone. You know, he was talking to no one on the phone, but he was pretending he was talking to someone. And then it turned into a real fight. So let's see. They're both eager to go for it. I'd put my money on Chris Brown, given the size of him. Soulja Boy's pretty thin, and I think he's a bit shorter as well. Chris Brown is deceptively tall. So I think Chris Brown might have the edge. And he does seem to me a bit of a savage as well. Whereas Soulja Boy just kind of seems like someone who's all mouth and nothing else. So we'll see. Anyway, Soulja Boy decided to take it further, and then he felt like he needed to prove how hood he was, so he went down to, I think it was to his hood, and he was walking around with there was someone, he was recording himself actually, but other people were recording him as well, because phones are everywhere. And then there was a hilarious part where at one point he walked up to this guy and he put his arm around his shoulder, and this guy didn't know who he was, and he lifted the arm off and pushed him away. And then Soulja Boy was a bit rattled, and then he dropped the phone, which was also the camera at the time, so we couldn't see what was happening. He dropped the phone, and then actually you see him backing away on his own camera, taking off his chain, ready to go. This other guy didn't seem like he was super eager to get into it, really, so he didn't take the bait. People stopped Soulja Boy from going for it in the end. And then the guy picked up the phone, and then the person who owned the phone was quite annoyed. He got it back in the end, but I thought that was going to turn into something. And this guy was actually in Chris Brown's video, so totally the wrong person to go up and approach. And it just shows he was just trying to be something that he's not. He isn't this famed figure who everyone respects automatically. Like he's faking it so badly. And then he got rejected on camera, on his own camera. It looked so funny. Oh, it was classic. It's classic TV, classic footage. And there's a parody as well. Actually, there was a music video by Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson put out a diss. I don't know what Mike Tyson has to do with it. Maybe he said something slightly derogatory towards Mike Tyson, but then Mike Tyson put out a rap diss video. Without him in the video, but he was rapping it. Which I thought, okay, we'll let him get away with that. Maybe Soulja Boy said something to him. And then the video was all girls singing the whole thing. And then they had a part where they had someone play Soulja Boy, and they acted out that scene where he puts his arm around the guy, and then the guy pushes him away. And then the girls go and beat the Soulja Boy person in the video. Anyway, but Mike Tyson might actually put out a whole album. This is unverified at the moment, but that's what I've read. So we'll see what happens there. That would be a terrible idea because he sounded horrible. And I find it's okay for like a one-off diss if you want to get back at someone at their own medium. Because he can't fight Soulja Boy because then he'd go straight to jail because he would destroy him. But despite his age, despite both of their ages, Tyson would win. But yeah, if you put out a whole album, he sounded pretty bad. But that kind of sounds like how you sound when you're making music at first. It's just if you're a well-known figure, your first thing becomes a real album rather than, most people, it's their fourth album that might be the one that actually gets heard by people. They might make 3 albums worth of material before they actually put anything out. Anyway, so that's all funny, and it's going to get violent, but it's going to be staged, so that's good. It's going to be, and people are going to make money off it, including 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather. But let's see how this goes. I'd prefer if this boxing match didn't go ahead. They don't have anything. That's the thing. They don't have anything to settle. They don't have scores to settle. They don't have differences to resolve. This is a Twitter beef, so it's useless. Anyway, on to a more serious story that involves Troy Ave. So this is about the Troy Ave, the shooting that he committed where he didn't hit anyone. The story behind that was he was at a T.I. concert. He wasn't, I don't know if he was performing, but he wasn't on stage. It was a T.I. concert rather than a Troy Ave concert, but he was there. And then his bodyguard gets shot and killed. And then there's video footage of Troy Ave with a gun shooting someone. And this is recorded. And so straight away he was picked up by the police, Troy Ave. But now it's come out that it was, the police suspect it was Taxstone who not only killed the bodyguard, but was the one he had the gun, and he was shooting at Troy Ave, possibly hit him somewhere, but nowhere serious, and then lost the gun, and then was on the way out while Troy Ave was shooting him, but didn't get hit. So the police have found... So Taxstone is a podcaster. He's not a rapper. He's very sharp-tongued. He's very open-minded. He's very honest. And he doesn't do pleasantries. He just tells it to you straight. So he offends quite a lot of people. But he doesn't really mean to... He's not interested in hurting you. He's not trying to disrespect you. He's just... he might say... Like he was saying about Troy Ave, that... He was calling him fake. He was saying that you're putting on this front. No, that's not really... You're saying you're better than you are. I think the quote... I think Troy Ave was saying that he was better than he is. Like, he was bringing New York back or something like that. When he was saying, you've only got one song of note. You haven't got a lot. But he was saying you're still a good... you're not a bad rapper. Just, you only have one song. Rappers can be a bit sensitive at times. But he's not... They were... Things weren't good between the two of them. But it's quite shocking to hear that my opinion's changed on Taxstone if it is him. I mean, they found DNA on the gun, proving that he was holding it at one point. So he must have lost control of the gun in the battle. I always thought he was... So Taxstone, because he doesn't do pleasantries and he's really sharp-tongued and straight to the point. I respected him for that, but if he does it to the point where he doesn't care about consequences, like maybe maybe it goes that far. Not only does he not care about what people think, but he doesn't care about consequences as well. And there are people who have problems like this. It's a mental illness where you don't have empathy, basically. He might have that. I mean, a lot of people shoot people, but there's something about Taxstone and the way he just doesn't seem like a normal person. He doesn't seem like there are a couple of things that are missing there, which haven't been too bad, but they only become a problem when you shoot people. And don't care about the consequences. You're shooting a rapper in a club. If it was him, shooting a rapper in a club. He must not care about consequences. Not even trying to hide it. Not. Anyway, and it's not clear what started that altercation at that time. So that's a big, serious story. And I listened to Taxstone's podcast, which is called Tax Season, and it not so long ago, it actually started to gain a lot of popularity. So the podcasting is still a new medium. I'm doing it right now. I shouldn't be talking about competition, but podcasting is quite new, and there are a couple of big names. There's Drink Champs with the rapper Noriega. There's Elliot Wilson, who's a hip-hop journalist, and he has Rap Radar. And then there's Taxstone with Tax Season. But Tax Season doesn't have a lot behind it. Like it started from nothing rather than Rap Radar, which is part of a news organization, or Drink Champs, which has sponsorship now, and he's a rapper, so he's got a name, he's got some money behind him. Anyway, yeah, so Taxstone, kind of out of nowhere, he's got strong opinions. He made a podcast, Tax Season. He gets some fairly noteworthy guests on his program. I think what pushed his popularity over the edge was he had an episode with Joe Budden where Joe Budden was just being strange, and Taxstone just got really annoyed, and just the interview was over really quickly. Like, it didn't take much for them to go from just a normal interview to the interview's over. But that was all Joe's fault, not Tax's. Anyway, more problems, more beef. I'm hoping that hip hop progresses past this. I want some better stories. But for the next part, I'm going to be analysing the chart. So I wanted to see what was happening in hip hop in the charts, because I listen to the radio, like hip hop radio stations, especially online, but it's not always clear who's popular and who are the new guys who are going to be remembered 10 years later, who is going to define this decade. And I can see by the list, I'm a little bit disappointed. So on the positive side, there are 2 Kendrick Lamar features. J. Cole has a song in there as well. This is the Billboard 200 for this week, and I'm just looking at the top sort of 50 songs with rappers in them. So Kendrick Lamar's featured on 2 pop acts songs. He doesn't have any songs of his own in the charts now, but he's been accepted totally by the mainstream because he's singing with Maroon 5 and Sia. That tells you a lot. There's Nicki Minaj. She's featured on an Ariana Grande song. I'm not really that interested in that. There's a Machine Gun Kelly song. He's number 10. That's impressive. He's an underground rapper. But let's go from the top. Number 2, Bad and Bougie. Migos featuring Lil Uzi Vert. This song is just taking over. It's a great song. I hate that I love it, but I do love it. It's great. And it's typical Migos style. There's not a lot of lyrics there. There's not a lot of content there. The beat is really good though, and it's just a great song. Number 3, Black Beatles. I love the song. Ray Sremmurd featuring Gucci Mane. Number 3. This was brought up by the challenge, the mannequin challenge. And I didn't notice it until that came up. But now I love this song. It's a really good song. Number 4 is Starboy with The Weeknd. So that's the top 5 with 3 hip hop acts. And then let's go down. Drake has Fake Love at number 11. Big Sean with Bounce Back. I haven't heard that yet. Another Weeknd song. Here's an interesting one. 21 Savage. So now I like this guy, and I was a bit skeptical of him at first, but he has 2 big songs. He has a mixtape with Metro Boomin, which is a really smart idea, because I think Metro Boomin is one of the top talents in producing right now. I think he's the best producer now, actually, of this decade, this generation, is Metro Boomin right now. And yeah, so 21 Savage has a whole mixtape with him, and he has 2 songs in the top 50. So the first one is X featuring Future. And this song is so addictive. I've been listening to it non-stop. I can't stop playing it. And then he has another one, which is No Heart, which doesn't feature anyone. It's just 21 Savage. And it's a really dark song. And it's all about murder. It's clear he enjoys the idea. He likes to talk about killing in a sort of a horror film type way. It's really in a hood way, but just... It's not just he's talking about it like other rappers talk about it. He focuses on killing and murder. So he enjoys this, and this is quite worrying, actually. In fact, there's one part in his song No Heart where a friend of his starts talking to him and saying something like, I think he may have done something wrong and they were buddies. And at some point he just turns around to shoot him. And him and a friend of his just killed this friend in his house. The video, the friend is in the house, and he's talking to 21 Savage, and then 21 Savage is not happy with him, and then takes a gun and just starts shooting him, which is really worrying because it's his friend. So yeah, the song No Heart, the title is just about right. He's called 21 Savage. So yeah, he is very much a savage. And I believe a lot of what he says. He does embellish a little bit. But I do believe a lot of what he says. And he doesn't seem like he's trying to be anyone, which is quite refreshing. I feel like he's just him. There's no airs and graces. You can tell because he's not doing a good job at making himself great. Like his delivery is really laid back and really quiet. Sometimes it's hard to hear what he's saying. His voice croaks a bit because it's just so low like that. It's almost like he doesn't even want to rap, like he's been forced to. But he sounds really good. There's a lot I like about him. So, and he's not trying to be anyone, which is really good. And he's on the charts. He's in the top 50. I would never put him as a chart rapper, but there he is. He's doing it. And then Lil Uzi Vert, who I don't like, but well, he was on Bad and Bougie, and I'm disliking him less, let's say, but I still really don't like him for the most part. But I'll accept him. He's not a bad rapper. He's not a great rapper, but he's not terrible. So he's got a song by himself as well as Bad and Bougie. And J. Cole's in there as well in the top 50. And Young M.A.'s still there at number 39. So these are the rappers who are chart rappers now. It's amazing how things have changed. I remember the era of Drake, Big Sean, and it's still going, kind of Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. Like, I remember that was one. But now you have the new ones coming in with Migos and Lil Uzi Vert. And they're still... The old guys are still around. The new guys are there. But none of the new guys are lyricists, though. Which is a shame. But then people would have said that about that generation. The Big Sean guys. People at that time. So, who knows? But Big Sean, actually, he's looking a lot better now compared to all of these people. I wasn't a big fan of Big Sean. I had the first album. But, you know what? He's decent. He's decent. He has lyrics. That's what I want to say. Oh, and just a special mention to the Future featuring Drake song, Used to This. It's number 50. I'm a huge fan of both of them individually and them together. Future only has a tiny part in 21 Savage song, but when he comes up, it just sounds so amazing. I'm really a big Future fan. He sounds really good. He's got a lot of swag. Not a lot of lyrics, but everything else is spot on. He even has a song called Too Much Sauce as well, which I can't stop listening to. That chorus, which has Lil Uzi Vert on the verses. So I want to talk about this song, Used to This. Future featuring Drake. They have Way At, which was on Dirty Sprite 2 on Future's album. Then they had a whole album together, What a Time to Be Alive. Loved all of that. So when I heard about this song, Used to This, I thought, brilliant. Two of my favourite artists of now coming together, and I've loved every partnership they had before. This is going to be great. I heard it, and it was terrible. It was boring. It was just, there was nothing there. It was, ugh. I was so disappointed. So disappointed. And Drake starts trying to sing, and he has auto-tune as well, and it just doesn't really work. It sounds alright, but it's his worst attempt at singing ever. I didn't mind the other songs, like Hold On, We're Going Home. He sounded really good then, actually. I mean, I wouldn't put him... He doesn't really have a talent for singing, but for a song, it sounds alright. Like, it didn't sound terrible. But this just sounded terrible. And then he gets back to the rap. He gets back to rapping, and it's still just... There's something... I don't know. This just doesn't work. I don't like it. Yeah, so totally disappointed. So, and I'm glad that I know that I don't just take anything these guys give me, because I sometimes worry about that. You know, it's easy to be influenced and just like whatever people give you. Like with Kanye West, so far there's not much that I've hated. I've always wondered, am I thinking for myself, or am I just going along with it? But now this song has come up, it's confirmed. I don't take any rubbish. This is horrible. So. And it's sort of sunk without a trace. Like, it's number 50. Yeah, but no one's really talking about it. So, we'll let it lie there. Anyway, that's everything I have for you this week. Tune in next week for another episode. Bye.